No, it's good, isn't it? It is good. It's a brilliant ceiling. I'm in a shed, so I'm doing the best I can.
It's probably the best place for you.
It is. Yeah, it is. I'm 40 minutes from the house, so the amount of noise that my house creates, yeah, it's the best place for me, to be honest.
I had a mate years ago, and we went out one evening, leaving the wives at home, and we had a few bevies. Got home quite late, and my mate's wife Leslie locked him out of the house. He ended up spending the night in the shed under a couple of sacks. True story.
Yeah, I've slept in some dodgy places as well.
Yeah.
That's for another evening. So we've got 25 here so far.
25.
Yeah, so
That's
if you
bad.
want to, we'll hold fire for a couple of minutes to see if there's any stragglers coming along, and failing that, we'll make a start.
Okay.
Yeah, Andy, the worst thing is when you wake up and you look at the ceiling and you don't recognize it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah.
Done that, been there, Charlie.
Yeah, likewise.
It's not very nice when you look up and it goes round and round either.
Well, usually was doing that anyway.
Yes.
Okay. Well, should we start, Andy?
Yeah, let's give it a go.
Okay,
Then.
we're going to do it in a normal manner. You handle questions coming in by chat.
Yeah,
Relay them to me.
yeah.
Okay. Right. Good evening, one and all. And we'll start our session by sharing my screen. Right, you should all be able to see my screen now, with a bit of luck.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Well, Log4OM was started back in 2011. The three culprits on the screen there is myself and Lelly in the middle, and our good friend Chuck the guard on the right. What happened is that Chuck and I had been involved with Ham Radio Deluxe, and latterly with the American ownership of Ham Radio Deluxe, and we couldn't work very well with them, so we jacked it in. And because we knew Lelly, we approached Lelly to see if, as he was already writing something, would like to cooperate on developing a more comprehensive logbook that was fairly simple to use. Unfortunately, our dear mate Chuck was shot and killed in Phoenix about 2 years ago on October the 11th. And he's sorely missed, but he at the time, he was our awards expert. I don't bring much to the party. I basically only layouts and ideas and testing and a bit of bug testing and short circuits and so on. Lelly's the brains, he's the guy who does the coding. So I tend to be the front man, if you like, the guy who takes all the stick. So our objectives with version 1, which came out in to the public January 2012, was first of all that it had to be fairly quick and easy to use. Had to be very secure as far as the owner's data was concerned. Their QSOs had to be safe. It had to have an accurate call lookup. And be able to update from online information like QRZ and so on. It had to be particularly good for awards coverage, and be able to have the user define awards himself. It had to be able to integrate with external software like PSK programs and that sort of stuff. Bearing in mind at that time there was no such thing as FT8. And of course you had to have cat control and synchronization with all the other programs which are integrated with it. So we released version 1, and we ran on through till 2020. but it was quite evident that it became fairly popular, and the more people asked us to make changes and develop it and do this, that and the other, the more it became obvious that the foundations of the software were not good enough for future development. So we had to develop a version 2. There were certain things that we were not able to do with version 1, no matter how willing. It's a little bit like putting down the foundations for a single story building and then trying to build a skyscraper on top of it. You've got to have the foundations right first, or you can't build the skyscraper. Exactly the same in coding. So 2018, we started to develop version 2, and we were 3 years developing it, or no, 2.5 years developing it, until we did the first release January 2020. And the main aims were really to retain the simplicity of version 1, but make it more dynamic, make it more real time, make it more active. We wanted to create a more versatile award system because it proved that the original award system was not very understandable by most people. Like everything, you know, when you design it, you understand it, but you forget that sometimes people don't understand what you're doing. We needed to provide a state-of-the-art method of communicating with other software. With the old version 1, we had a communicator, a standalone program, which did this sort of interface. And it did it okay, but it wasn't as successful as a UDP connection, TCP/IP type connection. So that had to have that in it. And we had to add facilities that had been requested by users that were not possible in the structure of version 1. So that was the main thrust, really. So January 2020, first launch of version 2, and let's have a look at it in action. You're now looking at the Log4OM screen. I don't know how many of you actually use Log4OM, but I'll talk as if you don't. And pardon me, because there's bound to be some of you here who don't use the software. So basically the interface, this is the main interface, enter your call sign up here. Put in Graham's call sign. It's looked it up. As you'll notice on the right hand side, there's the images put up on QRZ showing his shack. And in the middle here, there's the work situation. The bottom bit shows I've worked that country, Denmark, on those bands which are marked blue and green. The blue ones mean they're confirmed. And I've worked Graham on most of those bands as well. I've also worked them on Digimode. So that's the main bit. But also down here, you can see the confirmation status on the left-hand side, that on the bands, the mark C, have the country confirmed. And the ones that are marked W is just the worked the country, have not had it confirmed yet. And you can have all the bands. I've actually put up all the bands that you're likely to use right up to 1 millimeter. I've never met anyone who works on 1 millimeter. Must be interesting. Boring. In the middle, you've got two maps. You've got the world map there showing the communicating line between IQTH in Essex and Graham in Denmark on Falster Island. On the right-hand side, you've got a more close-up map, which you can zoom into. And you can zoom in to the degree that you actually get the satellite picture. So pretty comprehensive, and you can obviously zoom out. And the right-hand side here is a band map showing the different stations that are currently on 20 meters. And if I click on one of those, say this one here, I double click on it, changes the radio to the relevant band, fills in the details of the other station, and a picture from his QRZ side. Again, all the other information about it at the bottom. You have the list of recent QSOs. This is your logbook, basically. Shows all the QSOs in the logbook. This one happens to have about 6,000 QSOs in it. It's a test log, so it's not a really true, accurate picture, but it's a thing that I use for testing all the time. You've still got your band map available on the right, although you can turn it off if you want to. Get rid of it, or bring it back and clicking the button down the bottom in green. The next tab is the cluster tab, which shows you all the cluster activity. The green markings of the call signs down here denote whether I've worked that particular station on that particular band and that particular mode. And the yellow denotes confirmation status. Red means I have not worked the country of Kosovo or Ghana or Kenya. And on the right hand side here, you can see that this is the confirmation status for for France. Then you have a propagation map, which tells you the circuit reliability. So we're on 20 meters. It's telling me on 20 meters, with a pretty reasonable chance, about 60% chance of working. The other station is just based on a basic dipole. It doesn't take into account you having a 5-element Yagi, but it gives you what the performance would be on a dipole according to the power that you're using at the time. And the final one is the work before this. So if I just get rid of that one and I'll put in here Graham again, that's it, 1W. As you see, those are all the times I've worked Graham in the past with all the relevant information. That's the sort of main interface, but when you're looking at putting the call sign in, you also have these extra tabs on the top here, which the first one's information about the other station. The next one is award references. So if we're looking at Graham's Island on IOTA, I can't remember what it is, but I'll select 125 and I can add that to that particular QSO, and that comes up in the awards now to say we've worked in. The next one is the details of my station. I'm currently on the flex and I might want to change the antenna. I've got no antennas in there, but it could have a list of antennas. So I might have a selection of antennas to choose from, or I might be on a different radio. So if I can change that, then I can change my power level here. So I might be running QRP or whatever. And a bit of extended information about the QSL overwriting the QSL information, the contacts, clubs. You might be in FIST or something like that, and you put his reference number in, and you might have some special interest groups that you want to add in there. So all that's the way you enter the QSO. If you've got a beam, then you've got a way of changing the beam up here to the heading for the long path or short path for Denmark. And you can also change radios. I'm looking at my aircraft at the moment on 14 megs, but I can go over to my ICOM, which is currently on 2 meters. So you can have single operator to radio operation. Well, that's the basic running of the software, but you also have the ability to look at any awards you might have. If you want to see what your DXCC status is, choose DXCC, and once it's checked the QSOs, it comes up with the status. So this is your grey is worked but not confirmed. The V green ones are validated. In other words, they've been confirmed and validated by the ARRL. The purple sub means that you've submitted the QSO for credit towards an award, and the blue one marked granted means that that credit has been granted for the award. So you've got a complete overview of the countries and so on that you've worked. And if you want to see the raw statistics by numbers, there's all the numbers. Worked 125 countries, 100 have been confirmed, and so on, and work it down into being on CW, or digital, whatever. And you can change the specification of the award by changing the filters here. Quite versatile method of doing things. And there's a whole load of awards. If we look at SOTA, go back to the awards view. I've got no SOTAs in this, so hard luck, no SOTA. That's an IOTA, might be a better choice. There, that's the IOTA results. So that's basically the program. There's a little bit more in it. There's a WinCare interface, so you can interface with your WinCare unit for CW, and there is a contest interface as well if you want to run a contest. But it's good for a contest operator who's not actually say particularly active. If you really are a serious contester, I suggest you use N1MM, which interfaces nicely with the program, so that as you work a station in N1MM and log it, it automatically gets logged straight into Log4OM. And the bosses have just arrived, so I'll click admit. I guess he'll be here in a minute. So that's an outline of Log4OM, what it does. So I'll now put it out to questions, Andy. Andy.
Sorry, I was just letting someone in.
I can hear all the ding dongs going on.
Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, there are people still coming into the presentation, Terry. Yeah. So, well, there's nobody that's put anything on the chat. It's absolutely clear at the moment. So no,
right.
It says disabled.
Yeah.
No, the chat is enabled.
Ciao, Lily.
Bizarre.
Mine says disabled.
All right. Okay. Well, I'm not sure why that would be. It's okay. Well, if anybody's got any questions, now's your opportunity to we'll bypass the chat and we'll ask the questions. How does that sound?
Hang on, can you hear me? Is it because Terry is still on full screen that it doesn't enable chat to work, or what? Because I can't get it to work. I just get a square come up in the middle of the screen.
Okay.
With a quick message you sent me, Andy, and no, I can't get it to work. I can't reply to you at all. Right. So it may just be that. I don't want to reload, and it's nothing to do with that.
No. Okay. Well, we'll stop the sharing screen. And
it's working for me.
Yeah, it's working for me too. Yeah, I can see you. Okay. Well, look, we'll keep the sharing screen because Terry's going to need that for showing people. So we'll make this nice and easy. Anybody that's got a question, I'm sure we can keep it orderly fashion and ask a question if anybody's got one. So who would like to ask a question? Dwayne, you'd like to ask a question. I'll keep an eye on anybody who's raising their hand, Terry. Okay. And we'll try and do it that way. So the first one will be by Dwayne.
Hey, Terry, I like keeping the worked before window up. If you go under view and you click on that, and it brings the worked before up, and then the recent call, the logbook. I forgot what that window's called, but I keep those two open. Is there a way to get them to open up automatically when you open the program?
No, there isn't at the moment, but perhaps Lenny would like to answer that. Lenny, you still here?
Yes, I'm here. Ciao.
Yeah.
Buonasera.
Did you hear the question, Lely?
No, I was trying to fix my audio.
We can hear you now anyway. The question was, if you have windows open when you are using Log4OM, the floating detached windows, can it be set so that when you start Log4OM the next time, those windows reappear automatically without intervention from the user? As I said, at the moment, that is not possible. Is that a possibility for the future?
Yeah, so some windows are easily manageable from a startup situation, while other windows are related to the screen that is generating them. As example, if you open a pop-up window starting from the main, as example, you show the statistics for this screen. The page that will open on desk is bounded to another control, the control of the user interface, so it's not possible to reopen. What what it is possible to open are all the windows that are basically independent from the main user interface. As example, you can open utilities and memory channels, or utilities and statistics, or other things like this one.
WinKey and contest.
WinKey, yeah.
Yeah. But not recent QSOs.
But not the screen that are bounded to another screen. So, as example, if you open multiple screen with details from the recent QSO, it's not possible to reopen at the
Okay, there you are, Dwayne. That's your answer to that one, Dwayne. Thank you, Ellie.
Okay.
Next question. Very quiet.
Anyone got a question?
How easy is it to recognize a radio? Is it plug and play?
Well, it uses OmniRig as the interface between the software and your radio. Yes, it's more or less plug or play. You open up OmniRig, and this is OmniRig I've got open now. You choose your radio in the top here, the COM port the radio is connected to, just as any other software, the baud rate, click OK, and away you go.
Fantastic, thank you.
Okay.
Yep, I have a question.
Charlie.
Yeah. TCI interface as used by Expert SDR software. Is there any plans to implement the TCI protocol within Log4OM?
Not at this time, Charlie. The reason being that it's a specific protocol to just Expert SDR. It's not used by anybody else in the world. So there are a lot of other priorities in front of it. It is on our list. I put it on our Mantis list to be done at some point in the future. But to stop everything, to introduce a protocol for a radio, which is in, should we say, the minority, is a bit difficult when we've got a lot of other things to do first, like Flex, which is sold in greater numbers.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from, but at the end of the day, TCI is being implemented quite widely now. I mean, it's not just for Expert SDR; it's the whole protocol. Gets rid of COM ports and all that stuff.
Charlie, who else has implemented it?
Well, there's various logging programs that have implemented it.
Yeah, other logging programs might have implemented it, but other radio manufacturers haven't.
Yeah, which is a shame.
Yeah, that's the difference.
It's superb. It's absolutely superb. So I have both an Expert and a Flex. So
you got both.
Yeah.
Which you prefer?
It's hard to say. It really is a hard decision to make. The Flex, because I can run 2 transverters, probably that's what wins it for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've got the Flex now. I've got the 6400, and Robin's got the 6600, and I think it's a great radio. I'm sorry we've diverted a little bit here in the discussion. There's particular interest to a few of us. The Flex is a great radio. It works really, really well, and the software works very, very well. But I think the software is rather poorly planned. You've got things which should be put together, which are dotted all over the screen, different places, which is poor organisation. But apart from that, I find it quite surprising the things it can do, and the AGCF and the wide noise blanker are invaluable, absolutely incredibly.
Yeah,
it's almost like an aircraft. Okay, next question.
I have a question, please. If it's...
Who's that?
Santiago.
Yeah, it's Santiago, Hotel India 8 Oscar.
Hi there.
I want to wonder if in QSL Manager, the search confirmation drop down, is there a way to put it that goes automatically to lots of the world? Because when I open the search, the QSL Manager menu, it goes into QSL confirmation.
Yeah.
Is there a way to put the log of the world by default?
The logbook of the world, you will log to logbook of the world, but only when the program closes. The reason for that is that logbook of the world, the ARRL, don't actually like real-time logging of QSOs because it sometimes overloads their servers, especially during a contest. And although some logging programs do that, we've tried to obey the rules with the ARRL. So what we do is you can set the program to automatically send the QSOs to the logbook of the world when the program
I know
closes.
That. Yeah, but my question was in another sense. Could you open the QSL manager, please?
Yeah,
Terry?
sure. Yeah.
Santiago, okay, I understood. You want to have a pre-selection
you see in search,
with the last search confirmation, right?
You want it to open like that with logbook of the world showing, yeah?
Exactly, by default. That's
okay. So yeah. But so what you actually mean, Santiago, is persistence. You want it to be persistent.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah. So Lily.
Okay.
Yeah. Can we have that last selection mode persistent?
Will be another parameter in the config. No big problems for that.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, no problem. Next one.
Hi, it's Mike G4SMB in Driffield, East Yorkshire. I must say I'm quite impressed with the views flicker, sort of touching a tab, and you can see everything that you've done or want to do. Just one question: can it transfer? Like for example, I run HID at the moment, which is pretty much getting on my nerves. But can it transfer existing logs straight into?
You can import your existing log. It's in an ADIF format. So if you're using a log program now, you can just export your log file as an ADIF file, then import it straight into Log4OM. Very simple operation.
Thank you very much. Excellent. It's very good.
Yeah.
I'm well impressed.
Okay. I'll just cover that in a little bit more depth. For those of you who have not used the program, a common mistake that most people do is to try and import an ADIF file before they've created a database. You need to have a database created before you can import anything into it. And it's a simple thing, and it normally is done when you first start the program because it comes up and asks you to create a database. Some people will circumvent this and they go along thinking it's all ready to import, and then when I go to import an ADIF, it won't have it because there's nowhere for the ADIF to be stored because you haven't got a database. But once you've got one created, then the simple task is to go to File, Import ADIF. Here's the window. Click Load. Choose an ADIF file. Click Open. And then just click Import. And when it imports the ADIF file, it will check the validity of each QSO with things like the DXCC number right according to the prefix. And it will also check if there are any awards that should be credited to that QSO. And eventually it will save the file. Not a very fast process if you've got a huge database, but it's a very efficient one. And it does make sure you don't get things like duplicates and bad information coming into the database to start off with. Next question.
All right, I'll throw another one in the mix. Is there anything to be gained by upgrading to SQL from the SQLite based database?
Not unless you particularly, well, two reasons really. One, that you've got an absolutely enormous database, so you've got 120,000 or so QSOs in your database. You might find a speed advantage if you did that. But the main advantage of a MySQL database is that if you're in a contest situation, you can have multiple stations logging to that database and they don't conflict with one another. You don't get any conflicts. They can all log on different bands at different times straight into the MySQL database. Yeah. Whereas an SQLite database, you can have multiple stations logging into it, but you have to be careful they don't try to log to that database at exactly the same time or you'll get a conflict. but most of it doesn't matter. I've got one common database. I've got Log4OM on 4 computers. When I say 4 computers, 2 of them are tablets, and I'll log on only one of those devices at a time, so there's no conflict in logging. But they all synchronize and they can all see the same QSOs at the end of the day.
Yeah. Just another thing, Terry, maybe you'd like to, I don't know how au fait the users are, but would you want to run through backing up logs and using the cloud for keeping your log and stuff like that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the backup, you need to go to the settings, first of all, program configuration, and you'll find down the left-hand side here, backup. When you click on that, you get the opportunity of doing 2 backups. The first one is the main backup folder. Just select somewhere to locate it and choose the backup rotation. And when we say backup rotation, for this main backup, let's say you set the backup rotation at 13. You do 13 backups. And when you come to the 14th one, it will drop or delete the oldest of your backups.
Yeah.
So you always only have 13, but you've always got the latest 13. You lose the old ones. Now, with the other secondary location for backups, you could have this on, if you like, on the cloud or something like that, or a different drive. And again, you've got the same opportunity to delete the rotation. You've got to enable rotation checkbox here, and that will cause this backup to do exactly the same. Alternatively, you could leave the box unchecked and it will just keep doing backups. Every time you close the program, it will back it up, and you could end up with thousands of backups that you perhaps don't want. So I usually enable that as well, and I set it to a fairly high number, because one thing that will happen is if you have a disaster on your computer and you restart Log4OM and it comes up and it's lost its data, the first thing people do is they shut it down and restart it again. The thing is that when you shut it down, you're saving the backup, which has got absolutely 0 in it. And time you've done that 5 times, you've got 5 empty backups. So having just a couple of backups is just not enough. I like to see 13, 20 backups all the time in both locations. That's my personal opinion. I'm just a belt and braces guy, basically. So having set those, let me just finish that. Having set those 2 and you saved it and applied it, what happens then is that when you close the program, it will automatically do a backup without any intervention from the user at all. You don't have to think about it anymore. It's being done. It's not just backing up the record of your QSOs as an added file. It's also backing up the configuration, all of your settings. So if you have a disaster, or in fact, if you want to transfer to another machine, you want to put the program on another machine, you can just move that config across and it'll have all of the relevant data in it.
May I add something, Terry?
Go on then, Lily.
Yeah, thanks.
Good God, we got a picture. What's that? Salami hanging up at the back
Yeah,
there?
salami, prosciutto.
Chuck her through this way.
I'm in the basement of my home, so.
Have you stocked up for the siege there, Lily?
Yeah, very nice place. One of them. There's another thing in the backups. If you can open the default backup folder, Terry.
Sorry, the backup folder.
Yeah, from help.
The actual backup folder.
Open, yeah. Inside, you can see also a folder called Historic. Open this one.
Historic.
Yeah. The Historic is the last backup of each month in the past. So additionally, another backup is made and is kept the last backup you made in the selected month. So if you do a backup today, it will write a new backup called May 21. Until the last day of May, it will update also this folder. And starting from June, another file is created. So even if you lost your 13 backups or your backup rotation, so you notice an error several months after the problem, you can still find the backups made several months ago. So we try to provide the best way to avoid data loss. So there's also this folder that contains the last backup made for each month in the past. Sorry for my English, because it's very, as Terry knows very well, my English is not so.
It's very good, Lily, but Terry has muted himself. Terry, you're muted.
I've asked him to unmute.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's it. You're unmuted now.
I did nothing. I got a message up on the screen that said the host has muted you. That's one way of telling you to shut up.
I didn't touch a
Yeah, let me just add a rider to what Lenny's just said, is that and give you the reason that we started doing this historic folder and historic backup. It was because so many people were ignoring the backup facility and having problems when they had a crash or something like that. They lost their data and they're crying in their beer because they hadn't got a backup. So we put that one in as a last ditch situation that they have no control over.
Yeah, I always preferred the backup to the cloud, Terry, as well as locally.
Yeah, I do always. In fact, my database is on the cloud, Charlie.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah. It means when I'm out portable, I can log from anywhere, basically.
Yeah. Okay, next question.
Anyone else got a question?
Yeah, I've got one. I don't know if the microphone's working or not.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Right. I love the program. What I use is the DX cluster side of it. When I'm sort of chasing the DX, if there's anything hiding. The thing I don't know if I've got the settings right or not, but it seems to be a long delay between when you click on the call you want and the radio switching. Because the way I've looked at it, it looks like it's searching the database first before it switches the radio to the said frequency.
No, it's already searched the database. When you see it on the cluster, it's done all the searching there. First of all, question, what are you using, Hamlib or OmniRig?
Oh, sorry?
What interface, Hamlib or OmniRig?
OmniRig.
And which radio?
2000.
Okay. In OmniRig, you'll find there's an interval selection.
Yeah.
It's called poll int. Second one up, right? Lower that down to its lowest value.
But it's not only this parameter. We had a problem of a performance issue, and I'm aware of this. And in the next version, we probably have a faster response from the cluster. It's not the cluster itself that is slow in the answering. It's the fact that the system is loading a lot of data and calling external data sources before filling the top area. So in the 1 second and a half you wait for data appearing on the system is used to synchronize multiple threads that are working and searching for data on the internet, on Clublog, and other sources. In the actual version that Terry is using is an alpha version. The cluster should be faster than before.
I've never found it particularly slow anyway. But you do need to lower that poll interval, because that does make a huge difference. You know, if I double click on a call sign, my radio's changed already.
Yeah, what I get in mind, where the call sign comes up, it comes up with a little red box and it says looking for data or something along that line. I can't remember exactly what it says because I'm not at home.
Yeah.
And then once it's finished searching for the data, it then changes the rig to the frequency.
Yeah.
So I'll try changing that poll interval. So thank you very
Lower
much,
the
Derek.
poll rate, but also wait for the next release and see what happens with it.
Okay,
Wait for the
thank you
next
guys.
release.
It's a brilliant program.
Next question.
Yes, I wonder. I have the program on my laptop, and I also also install it on my desktop, and also use cloud. But when I put it on my desktop and go to the database, and I click on the file, but I didn't get the name as I have on the file. Also, like version 1 or version 2. It just say profile new config, but I get my QSO and so on, but the name isn't going from the cloud.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite get all of that. You've got it on 2 computers. On one computer, it works okay, yeah?
Yeah. And
the other,
yes,
the other computer does what?
I can get the database, but I didn't get the name of the database file on the top, as your computer will stand
I mean, up the
yeah,
top
yeah,
left-hand corner.
yeah.
That's actually the profile that you're using, not the database. The database is shown down the bottom right-hand corner.
Okay.
The bottom right-hand corner gives you the path to the database and the name of the database.
Okay.
The top left-hand is the profile.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Then I understand that I have to just write in my version 2 or version. Yeah. Understand.
Yeah, you can change the profile name in the settings. The profile name is something for you that helps you to remember what this configuration works for. As example, you may have IW3HMH, it's my call sign, but I can use also this one like, as example, Italy Whiskey 3 Hotel Mike Hotel /QRP. And so having different configuration, different rigs, different database, no, it's not suggested in this case because the call sign is the same. But if you are working with a club station, as example, with a club call sign from your home, you may have 2 different profiles using 2 different call sign, 2 different settings, 2 different configurations, and 2 different database. The profile is not retrieved from the database file, is something you set in the configuration. So you may have in your portable, you may have the profile name called Bjorn Portable, and in the main PC you may have a profile called Bjorn or Bjorn Mine PC or My Call or everything else. But it's not this is not necessary to have the same name for profiles, because the data file is the same and the QSO are all in the SQLite file.
Yeah. Thank you for the answer. It's yes, I understand now. Thank you.
Okay.
Could I make another suggestion?
Go ahead.
Okay, what I found when I moved the program between various computers, I have it like you, Terry, on 3 or 4 computers and the laptop. I copied the app data profile local roaming, and all the files in there I copied from one computer to the other. So the profile was copied identically across, and it worked perfectly.
Yeah, because that will give you all of your layouts for your different grids, or the recent QSOs, how you've got it set up.
Yeah.
And that's a good way to do it. It is a good way to do it.
How? Yes. How? What was the name of the file you just copy?
Okay, I'll show you.
Yeah.
If you look at the screen and you go to help and you go to open config folder. Yeah. That's the folder that will come up. And if you then, if you want to just go back to the roaming one, so in the C drive user app data roaming, you'll see Log4OM2, yeah?
Yeah.
If you copy that whole folder from one computer to the other one and let it overwrite the folder that was made on the other one, you'll get exactly the same setup.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's great.
The other thing, Bjorn, is that sometimes your app data folder may be hidden on your computer. You may have to unhide it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next question.
A small hint about this bulk copy. The user configuration is inside the user folder, inside this folder. So roaming log4om2/user. This contains the current user config. It's not necessary to copy everything, but only the user folder. In some other folders, there are label configuration and other things that could be moved manually from. What is the thing to be aware when copying the configuration this way? You may have different path in your PC. You may have TQSL from LOTW in C programs on one folder and in D programs in another PC. So if you copy the configuration straight away, you must check if the paths are correct, if the path to your application, your database, your backup folder, and other things, because you are copying exactly the same configuration from the main PC. So if you have a different configuration, a different folders, settings, a different path for some folders, a different username, this may change your configuration. So Log4om will be unable to find the required file in the folder. As example, you may not find the TQSL file or something else. So you must do this with a little bit of knowledge, because copying is possible, but configuration are related also in small part to your PC.
Okay, next question. No, it's all gone quiet. Okay, Lily, have you got your Log4om in front of you? Lily?
Yes.
Have you got Log4om open in front of you?
Yes, and mine.
Yeah, shall we demonstrate the chat?
What do you want to demonstrate?
Chat.
Ah, the chat. Okay, 1 second, because my version is currently not running because I'm doing a refactoring, so okay. It's not working correctly. But let me have a second.
I'll do the narrative whilst you'll sort yourself out with change. Okay, we recently
my PC is not used. In this PC I'm developing Log4OM, so usually it's not it's not compiling anymore.
Okay, don't worry. I'll try and do it without.
Okay.
Right, gentlemen, this basically introduced the chat system so that you can chat with other Log4OM users.
No, wait a second. I will come.
Oh. Yeah, we introduced this chat system so that you can communicate with other Log4OM users by a direct text system. You can have a series of friends, as I have here, entered in to the chat system. And you can show, if you click the button here, show friends, will show you any of those friends that happen to be online. And I can see Charlie's there at the top of the list. And there's Lily. Lily, shut up.
Yep.
So I'll send him a message. Okay. Turn your sounds off. Right. Yeah. So you see, you can send messages. So you can say, for instance, you know, what's the conditions like on the banjo? And if you look in the bottom right-hand corner, it's if Lenny was actually on. Can you turn the sounds off, Lenny? It's getting annoying.
Yeah, I have no rig connected right now, so no
Okay.
frequencies shown.
Right.
Terry, I sent you a message.
I sent one message also.
Right. So if you look at the bottom right-hand corner here, if he had been on the air with his radio, you would have seen the frequency. I don't know if Charlie's on. Yeah, Charlie's on 3.573, 80 meters upper sideband.
FT8.
There you go. So
And
you
I'm
can
not-
say, you know,
I'm-
what's the band conditions like? He says it's crap tonight. Okay, I'm going to go and have a look at 20. So there we are. That's the chat system. Okay, next. Any questions?
And
whilst we've
if
been
you type
looking at-
Michael sign in the search box, you can see that I'm a chat user, as you can see in the variable message chat user, then it indicates that the user is using a chat system.
Yeah.
Why is there a red alert flashing on that call sign, Terry?
Because it's the station in the cluster which I need. The one that's flashing is the chat. There's a chat message for me. If I
Yeah.
click on it, it opens up the chat window. Okay. And you can see the chats. Yeah. But the other one is there's a obviously I've got an alert set up to
The
alert
cluster
me when
alert.
the European Russian station comes up on 20 meter CW, because perhaps I want that station on that band. So I've got an alert set. Would also send me an email at the same time.
No, I haven't investigated that side of it. That's interesting.
There you go. Just takes a second, I can't block that, so. Hi, San Diego.
That's me.
There you go. Okay, any questions come to mind? No?
Yeah, why the message is still flashing? It should be it should disable. Okay.
Still flashing.
No, I know, because it's probably it's the new interface that is not bounded correctly.
Yeah.
The change I made in the stage.
Yeah, it's like
to
just
improve
disconnected.
performance.
Disconnected now, so it shouldn't be
Yeah.
flashing. Yeah.
Probably the event is missing. Let me check on.
Yeah. There you go. You learned something tonight. Another bug to fix.
Yeah. I'm producing bugs.
Okay. Any more questions? Anything else people want to know?
How did you start the chat again?
You go to utilities. Sorry, utilities. Second one up from the bottom. Use the chat system.
Okay, thanks, Terry.
Or alternatively, you see the red box that's flashing. You can click on that and it brings it up. Can be quite handy at times.
Try right click on the red box. Okay, no, same. I should fix that. Something for tonight.
There you go. See? We're all learning all the time.
Every
Right,
day,
gentlemen.
school day.
Okay, we seem to run out of questions, so perhaps we'll call it a day. That, Andy, you okay there?
Yeah, okay. Well, thanks very much. And that's brilliant, Terry. I've certainly learned a lot this evening, I know that much. But it's always interesting when you do come on and give a presentation to us, because we seem to learn more bits that perhaps we've missed if we're looking by ourselves. So, and I don't read manuals. I don't read manuals, and whenever I go on the
Who
Facebook
does?
group and I see, yeah, but I see you put manual page, and I think, oh no, I can't do it. I can't do that. But no, it's brilliant, brilliant, Terry. It's
Terry,
fantastic.
Terry, could I just interrupt and ask you to run through basically the, oh God, it's gone out of my head now what I was going to ask you. Crumbs. Oh yes, the UDP interfacing and external programs.
Yeah, sure. But basically, if you should hit the user guide for this, but I'll run through it a little bit. At the bottom of the program configuration, you've got the software integration section, and in there you've got connections, and you've got the ability to set a UDP inbound or outbound connection. So the left-hand side is all the inbound connections. So I've got an inbound UDP from WSJT, and on the right-hand side, you've got outbound connections. I've got an outbound connection actually sending all the QSOs that I log to version 1 of Log4OM, so that's getting the benefit of the logging as well, and also sending any outbound information to PST Rotator. So you've got the ability there to communicate inbound or outbound, in other words, send or receive data about the QSOs to other programs. You've also got the, sorry.
Can I comment, make a comment, Terry, please?
Go ahead.
Yeah, on the matter of the UDP, I have an old video in my YouTube channel on how to configure Log4OM, WSJTX, and Grid Tracker using the UDP addresses. So it's an old video. It's almost 1 year old. But if someone want to see it, they can look for the channel, and there's a very clear explanation on how to configure the UDPs.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Santiago, I didn't understand that.
He's got a UDP video on his UDP channel explaining how to set it all up.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I'm making a new one, but it still works. The other one still works.
Terry, what's the bit where you can actually export packets to external websites? What's that about?
You might want to send it to your own website, send the logbook information to your website. Like, you know, on QRZ, you can show all the QSOs from HRD log.
Yeah.
But you can do that the same from Log4OM. You can send the information to your own log onto your own website. A good example is that there is F6 FUN Fox 6 Foxtrot Uniform November. You look at his website, you'll find he's got all sorts of information, even down to the results of his DXCC that he's culling from Log4OM.
So it's basically like a live log on the web.
Yeah.
What's his call again?
Fox 6 Fox Uniform November.
Okay, and that UDP, Terry, is used for N1MM as well, isn't it?
Sorry, second.
The UDP connections are used to log from N1MM directly.
Oh, that's right. That's the inbound connection. The instructions in the user guide basically is you use N1MM for your contesting. Then as you log in N1MM, it straight away logs into Log4OM, and Log4OM will add all the missing information, because any of you who use N1MM will know that if you export an ADIF from that program, it doesn't include the country name and a load of other information. So when if you import it as an ADIF, all that information is missing. But with a direct UDP connection, we will fill in the stuff by looking up online lookups to make sure you've got all the info. I'm sorry if I'm looking to one side a bit. Basically, I've got Zoom up on my second monitor, but my camera's on top of my first monitor. So, so that's that. We can also interface with the antenna rotator, PST rotator, and there's some ADIF functions as well. You can monitor an ADIF file. For instance, if you're using something like Oh dear, the Morse. I'm trying to do it. The Morse program. What's it called? MRP40. The Morse program. There's a little logbook that says it's an ADIF file, so you can actually scrape the ADIF for the QSOs by using ADIF monitor. Where you can send the ADIF files outbound. You can post ADIF files. It's very flexible in the things it can do, and the occasions it will come with as FLDigi interface. This is a WSJT, and this is the web integration. So yeah, there's a whole load of stuff there to explore if you're interested. Next question.
Nobody's asking questions, so I'll ask another one. JT Alert with WSJTX and Log4OM.
Yeah.
I find you don't need it, but some people like it.
Yeah. Well, JT Alert, I think, is fairly graphical. That's why people like it. The big thing you have to watch for is that you don't double log, because you can log from WSJT into Log4OM and from JT Alert. And the problem is that you could cause duplicates that way, because the time that is logged with WSJT from memory is the end time, and JT Alert is the start time. So because the two times are different, it's considered to be two different QSOs. So that's why you get duplicates if you've got it set up wrong. The other thing people do is they have WSJT set up to log in the proper way with using UDP, but they simultaneously also set up our ADIF monitor in Log4OM to look at the WSJT ADIF file. And again, the QSOs say with two different times in two different ways, you get duplicates. But you know, that's a user problem we can't overcome, because we can't control what the guy does.
Yeah, I found another thing. I don't know if it's a program bug or not.
Yeah.
But if I'm running, say, WSJTX and JTDX simultaneously on the fix, I can do that on the same slice.
Yeah.
Because one's using TCP and one's using COM. Yeah. You can log from either program, but if you try to log it seems to try to log both at the same time.
That's the trouble. Yeah, that is the problem. I've got a guy who's actually, he's got two different radios, both on WSJT, both logging at the same time, and he's having all sorts of problems. But you can't do everything. Any more questions? No, I think we've run out, Andy, so get you to wrap it up, mate.
Yeah, no worries. Well, thanks very much, Terry, and I look forward to having you again once you've found some more hidden features I'm not aware of. But no, brilliant. Thank you very much for this evening.
Well, thank you for having us, and thank you all for attending and coming up with some questions and finding a few things that we need to set right. So it's always a help to us to get the playback from the users. You are, after all, who we write it for. So if we don't know what you're thinking, we can't get it right for you. But Lily does his best. Sometimes he falls a bit short. I'm still waiting for Flex support, but I guess sometime I'll get there. Okay, girls and boys, I'll see you later. Be good.
Yes, Terry. Thank
you. Bye.
Yeah, thank you. 73 is everybody.
Yeah, 7-3. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Ciao.
Thank you.
Bye.
7-3. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Nice job, Terry.
Just so that you're aware, just to make you all aware before everybody starts dropping out, apart from the normal group that stays behind for a quick catch-up, the Ham Radio Network talks are actually going to be changing. This is the last one on a Thursday evening. We're actually going to be moving it across to a Monday evening. So the first one, and this is only because the local radio clubs are making plans to reopen, and after quite some time for the lockdown. So we're going to be shifting to a Monday evening, same time, exactly the same platform on the Zoom platform, same login details. The first one that we have will be on the 17th of this month, and it's going to be by the UK 6 meter group. So everybody's more than welcome to attend that, and you'll see more details on the Facebook group. And if you're on the email list, then you'll find them on there as well. So thanks very much, guys, and hopefully I'll catch you further down the line.
Yep. Andy.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know who that was. Andy, have you still got the chat disabled your end? Because I've managed to get that back in position again with a lot of wiggly pogly about. But at the bottom it still says chat disabled.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Insomma, no, sempre comprensibile al 100% da parte mia, nessun problema. Ok, allora vediamo se.
No, you can't see anything, Dick.
Yes, for me the chat is also disabled, so I don't know. It's because you are the main.
One of the security things. There you go. Let me see now. I've just reset, so let me see if it's there now. Can you see it now?
Yes. No, it's possible. No, it's working.
Working now?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a function that disables. I've just realised.
I'll give you function, you old tool. I've been pouncing about here for about half an hour.
Yeah.
Because I thought, blimey, how the devil am I going to get that back on again? I even went on Google and asked a question.
Oh, you didn't, did you?
Oh, I did, because I thought, well, I must be missing something. I mean, it's got a little panel down the bottom with 3 dots. And in there should be the relevant info, but it's only got 2 settings when you have got it disabled.
All right.
For me, I thought, why the hell doesn't that work?
Yeah.
Never mind, I've cracked. That's cracked. We know where we are.
Yep, you're all
So I've sussed that out, getting the panel back. Don't ask me what I did, but the chat panel ended up right smack in the middle of the screen. Yucca, can't hear anything, mate. Your radio's louder than everybody else. That's better. Yeah, so it ended up right in the middle of the screen.
Yeah.
And it took me ages to get it back where it should be after fiddling about in the instructions or the settings.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, it's still not working, but that's back on there. Everything at the bottom there. Yeah. Absolutely excellent. Anyway, I'm going to sign off a bit rapid.
Yeah.
And we'll see you old boys anon. But thanks very much. That was quite interesting for once. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not a DX logger. But I must admit that is a fairly intricate program. I was amazed the depth of it, what's available on it.
Yeah.
Quite interesting. Right, okay, Andy, you're in charge, mate.
Mate. See you later. Thank you. Speak to you later.
Cheerio, Dick.
Yeah, Dick.